Hey, it's your professional sarcastic man and seeker of attention, Chris, here with reviews on Justice League Dark number 7 and Uncanny X-Men number 10, the finale of Disassembled. So we'll start off with the obvious best of the two. Uncanny, I'm joking, it's Justice League Dark. Justice League Dark was the best of the two. So who dares defy the other kind? So in this issue, it's actually split into several little small stories of members of the JLD and other supernatural heroes or villains, groups, etc., encountering the other kind. It's helping to set up the eventual battle against the Upside Down Man and the other kind. So, and it's all done kind of as like a with Man-Bat going through research notes, going through files, looking up all of these previous incidences with the other kind, as you know, tales from the other kind, written by James Tynion, art by Alvaro Martinez Bueno, and inking Paul Fernandez, Brad Anderson as the colorist. So, first story, The Soup. Zatanna is trying to shut down this club run by the First of the Fallen, like one of their it's supposed to be like one of their versions of the devil. I know Lucifer exists in the DC universe, like sometimes it's DC, sometimes it's Vertigo, but First of the Fallen is supposed to be the typical evil devil. So Zatanna is trying to take down this club run by the First of the Fallen, where people get to they're kind of slightly tricked, as Zatanna says it, get to do or get to be inflicted by all of these dark, terrible things, but she wants to take it down because she needs him to, as she says, you need to evacuate demonkind into hell, open up your kingdom to refugees because of the other kind. But one of them arrives, the Soup, which is just a giant, like it almost reminds me of, what was it, Glob from Uncanny X-Men. It's just a transparent, you can see his skeleton, sometimes his guts, his eyes. This is kind of similar. Zatanna gets sent away by the First of the Fallen. He tries to deal with the Soup, but underestimates how powerful the other kind is. The next story is The Conjoined, which follows Andrew Bennett, a vampire slayer, I Vampire, as I think he's called, or I think his series was called I Vampire, as Bobo says, I Vampire. How the hell am I even supposed to call you that? You should just go with Vampire Man or something easy to swallow. So Bobo and Swamp Thing are there to just destroy this whole cemetery because it's filled with the other kind. Andrew Bennett goes inside, sees it, and is absolutely terrified and leaves. Then we have the Offspring, Wonder Woman, and the Agents of Shade. So Frankenstein and the Creature Commandos go to a ship which has another of the other kind, the Offspring, or all these small looking all these small monsters that start to burrow into Frankenstein, and he decides to contain it. And that all leads to the end, where a story about Zatanna's father and Sargon preparing to trying to hold off the other kind and trying to find a means to give Zatanna and the others a weapon to defeat them. So definitely another good issue. I do like this format of just showing like this whole other kind situation isn't just focused and solely dealt with the Justice League Dark, that team. That it's not the only thing they're interacting with. It's affecting the rest of the magical, supernatural, heaven, hell, all of that, those communities and groups, etc. as well. It's a huge threat to magic, and how it's attacking them, and how they are dealing with the other kind as well. So another good issue. Definitely like the cover. Definitely like the art. Art has always been amazing, as always. So, onto Uncanny X-Men number 10. the story that just dragged. So X-Men Disassembled Part 10. I wonder if this is really why they wanted 10 issues. So, at the end of the issue is like, oh, look, the X-Men symbol is also X. Is in Roman numerals, which is 10. I wonder why. Probably not, but so we're at the end. I will say I do like this double page spread of Legion X-Men and the Horsemen against all of the X-Men and Apocalypse. So the final fight, all of them are trying to take down X-Men. Which, to be fair, I don't see how, like, any of, like, except for, like, the telepaths, because later on anyone with telepathy, etc., they all get together so they can invade Nate's mind. Like, I don't see how anyone else could legitimately think they could take on X-Man, who is also in possession of Legion. It's like, oh, we got to try. Like, the Horsemen, I could see them at least trying to take on, but X-Men, like, Sam tries to just fly straight into X-Man. He gets electrocuted. It's like, what'd you expect? It's like two of the most powerful mutants together. So, while everyone deals with the Horsemen, Jean gets all of the telepaths together in order to enter Nate's mind to free Legion from him, which they succeed. But Jean stays inside of his head and tries to learn about his, like, what he's doing, why he was doing it. I honestly really don't care. And this leads to something which I'm going to spoil it anyway, because the solicit spoil it anyway. Looks like Nate kills everyone, and then he dies as well. Wow, what a very lackluster end. It's just like, they succeed in freeing all of the Horsemen, and everyone's attacking him. And it's just like, well, my plans are still going to go forward. You're all dead. Ta-da. Okay. And then we have a little bit of just, like, talking about, I don't see why they're just like, oh, we need these 2 black pages. Pointless. These black pages don't need to be here. It's like, well, it's like, oh my god, the X-Men are actually dead. We need to be like, what's happening? What's going to happen next? And it's just a news reporter that they're dead. We know they're not dead because solicits exist. We know they're in the Age of X-Men universe, or whatever it's going to be called. So Cyclops, that's, obviously Cyclops, he sees it, and that will lead into Uncanny X-Men number 11. But this was a very rushed and lackluster issue and end to the story. Like I said, this here really only needed to be 5 issues. 6 max. It really dragged on, and there were plot points that had nothing to do with the overall story. The whole, we young mutants at the school, we want to do stuff as well. We hate that the adults tell us we have to stay behind and say it's all dangerous. That had nothing to do with the overall plot. It was pointless. The previous issue where turned out some students stole a mutant vaccine, nothing came out of that plot. Nothing at all. It had nothing to do with this plot surrounding X-Men. What about the Bishop plot? The Bishop was investigating something. That has not been touched upon at all, if I'm remembering correctly. And I'm trying to remember all of it. Pointless. Really. Cut all of those. Focus on the X-Men stuff. And you can still have it lead into Age of X-Men. All of that. This was a terrible run. This was not good at all. And the thing is, like, Bryson and Thompson, they're actually good on other X titles. Bryson, Cable, his run on Legacy, I love that run. Extermination, I thought it was a good story. X-Force is a bit meh, but okay, so 2 out of 3 with his X-Men stuff. I've heard that a lot of people really like his Old Man Logan. So, okay, maybe 3. So he's got three good X-Men titles. Kelly Thompson, Rogan Gambit. People like Rogan Gambit. Mr. and Mrs. X, which I'm reading as well. That's a good series as well. That's a fun series, which you don't see a lot from in Marvel. Just a fun, good series with a couple. Yes, with a couple. You know, they're good writers when it comes to X-Men, but this, I would say because it's a collaborative work and they had to draw it out because solicits Age of X-Men and all that, but still, this is a very disappointing story. Disassembled. It was not worth the price of getting all of them. Like I said, I've said it this whole time, they really dragged it on. It should have only just been 5, maybe 6 issues. It did not need to be 10. So, apart from the annual, I'm going to get the annual because I think Bryson's writing the annual and it's explaining how Cyclops comes back. That's the only thing I'm really interested in for getting that annual, like, because, you know, Cyclops appears at the end of Extermination. He's back, and I at least want to know how Cyclops comes back. So I'm going to pick up the annual. But after that, I'm done. I'm done with Uncanny X-Men. The next issue number 11, is another like $5.99, $7.99 comic. For an issue number 11, you have Matthew Rosenberg on it, who is a good writer when he isn't on X-Men. So, thanks, but no thanks. I'm done with Uncanny X-Men. That is it with that one. So, that is all for these two. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you all next time.